Welcome to the Secure Circle Show, where we empower you with the knowledge to protect yourself against fraud, identity theft, and cyber threats. In this podcast, we delve into the critical issues surrounding cybersecurity in our increasingly digital world. Each episode features insightful discussions, expert interviews, and actionable tips that will help you and your loved ones stay safe online. From understanding the latest scams to learning how to secure your personal information, our goal is to create a community that prioritizes cybersecurity. Whether you're a seasoned tech enthusiast or just starting your journey to online safety, the Secure Circle Show is here to guide you. Let's jump in.
Welcome back to the Secure Circle Show. Today we're doing a deep dive into some pretty eye-opening numbers from the Federal Trade Commission.
Yeah, we're looking at their brand new data on fraud losses for 2024. It's from their Consumer Sentinel Network data book.
And the big headline: consumers reported losing a, well, frankly staggering $12.5 billion to fraud just last year.
$12.5 billion. It's hard to even wrap your head around that number, and what really stands out is the jump from the year before.
Right, it's a 25% increase compared to 2023's losses. That's huge.
It really is. Now, you might think, okay, 25% more money lost must mean 25% more scams reported. Right?
You'd think so, but that's not actually what the data shows, is it?
No, surprisingly. The actual number of fraud reports people filed, it stayed pretty much the same, around 2.6 million reports, basically level with 2023.
Okay, so hold on. The number of reports is stable, but the money lost just exploded. What's going on there? That's the core question, isn't it?
Exactly. It points to something pretty concerning. It's not about more attempts necessarily, but about the success rate of those attempts.
So the scammers are getting better at actually getting money out of people.
It certainly looks that way. Get this. In 2023, about 27% of people who reported a scam said they lost money.
Okay, 27%.
In 2024, that jumped to 38%.
Wow, from 27 to 38%. That's a massive leap in effectiveness. Any idea why? Why are they suddenly so much more successful?
Well, if we dig into where the money's being lost, it starts to paint a picture. The category with the absolute highest reported losses: investment scams.
Investment scams. Okay, how much are we talking?
We're talking $5.7 billion just from investment scams alone.
5.7 billion. That's almost half the total reported loss right there.
Pretty much. And that number itself is up too. It's a 24% rise compared to what was lost in investment scams back in 2023.
So what makes these so, I guess, appealing or effective for scammers?
Well, you know, they often promise really high returns, tapping into people's desire to grow their money, maybe faster than usual.
Right, playing on hope.
Exactly. And they can be very sophisticated, making fake websites, fake documents, making it look like a totally legitimate opportunity. Sometimes they tie into current events or, economic anxieties.
That makes sense. They adapt. Okay, what about imposter scams? We hear about those all the time, pretending to be the IRS or Amazon or whatever.
Still a huge problem. They came in second place for total losses, around $2.95 billion reported lost.
Nearly $3 billion. Still massive.
Definitely. And within that category, one area saw a particular jump: government imposters.
Like IRS scams or Social Security scams.
Exactly, that kind of thing. Losses there specifically went up by $171 million, reaching $789 million just for government imposters in 2024.
Wow. I guess playing on authority and fear really works. People panic when they think the government is after them.
Absolutely. They create urgency, they make threats. It pressures people into acting without thinking or checking.
So investment scams and imposter scams are the big money drains. What about how people are losing the money? The payment methods.
Yeah, that's a really critical piece of the puzzle. The FTC data shows a very clear trend here.
Okay, what is it?
People reported losing more money through bank transfers and cryptocurrency combined than all other payment methods put together.
Bank transfers and crypto. That's interesting. Why those methods specifically?
Well, think about it. Once you send a bank wire or transfer crypto, it's often gone. It's very, very difficult, sometimes impossible, to get it back.
Right, unlike maybe a credit card chargeback where you have some recourse.
Exactly. Scammers know this. They often push hard for victims to use bank transfers or crypto precisely because it's harder to reverse. Less consumer protection built in.
That's a really important vulnerability to be aware of. Okay, the report also mentions some emerging threats or areas with big growth.
Yes, definitely. The category of business and job opportunity scams saw a pretty dramatic increase in losses.
Okay, How dramatic.
Losses reported there hit $750.6 million in 2024. That's up almost $250 million from the year before.
$250 million jump, wow. Anything specific within that?
Yeah, if you drill down into just the job and employment agency scams, the numbers are kind of wild.
How so?
The number of people reporting those scams tripled between 2020 and 2024.
Tripled, okay.
And the money lost. It went from about $90 million in 2020 to $501 million in 2024.
Whoa, from 90 million to over $500 million in just 4 years for job scams? That's enormous.
It really is. And you have to think maybe it connects to economic uncertainty, the rise of remote work, online job hunting.
Yeah, it seems like fertile ground for scammers. Fake job postings, fake interviews online, promise of easy money.
Exactly. It creates a perfect storm, unfortunately. Easy to seem legitimate online.
So we know the types of scams, the payment methods, the growing areas.
Yeah.
How are these scammers initially reaching people? What's the first point of contact?
Well, maybe a bit surprisingly, old-fashioned email is still number one. For the second year running, email was the most common contact method reported.
Email first. Okay, what's next?
Then phone calls, followed by text messages.
So email, phone, text. Still the main avenues, even with all the new platforms out there.
Yep. It shows you need to be vigilant basically everywhere you communicate.
So the FTC collects all this data through the Consumer Sentinel Network. What do they actually do with it?
It's a huge database, right? They get reports directly from consumers, but also from law enforcement, the Better Business Bureau, even state partners. Over 20 states feed data into it.
So it gives them a really broad view of what's happening nationwide.
Exactly. And they use that data to spot trends, figure out new scam tactics, identify potential targets for investigations, and ultimately to bring law enforcement actions against fraudsters.
Okay.
And they share that intel widely with federal, state, local law enforcement. It's a collaborative effort.
And it's crucial for you listening to know, even if the FTC can't step in and get your individual money back, reporting is still so important, right?
Absolutely essential. Go to reportfraud.ftc.gov. Your report adds to that big picture. It helps them understand what's happening, warn others, and maybe stop the scammers down the line.
It's like contributing to the collective defense.
Perfectly put.
Okay.
And the FTC is also making this data pretty accessible now.
How so?
They have data dashboards on their website, ftc.go explore data. You can actually look up fraud stats for your state, even your metro area.
That's useful.
And they added something new this year. State-level data broken down by age. So you can see which age groups are reporting the most losses where you live.
That kind of detail is really valuable for understanding who's most at risk locally. And just a reminder for everyone, the FTC's job is consumer protection.
Right, protecting you from unfair or deceptive practices. And they have some key principles.
Yeah, good point. Things the real FTC will never do.
Right. They will never call you demanding money up front. They won't threaten you with arrest. They won't tell you to move your money to protect it, or wire money, or buy gift cards, or pay with crypto.
And they definitely won't promise you some big prize out of the blue. If you hear any of that, it's a scam.
Guaranteed. Red flag central.
And for tons more information on avoiding scams, reporting them, identity theft, all of that, consumer.ftc.gov is the place to go.
Yeah, definitely bookmark that one. Consumer.ftc.gov. Loads of great resources.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, the big takeaway from this 2024 FTC data seems to be vigilance is more important than ever.
I think so. The losses are way up, not because there are necessarily more scams being tried, but because the scammers are getting much better at converting those attempts into actual losses. Their tactics are evolving, they're becoming more effective.
So we all need to stay informed, understand these evolving threats, know the red flags we just talked about.
And know where to turn. Report fraud.ftc.gov if you encounter a scam or lose money.
And consumer.ftc.gov for prevention tips and resources. You know, this really ties back to everything we talk about here on the Secure Circle show.
It does.
We've done deep dives on identity theft prevention, what to do after an identity theft event happens, specific threats like elder fraud, even looked at that massive identity theft case. Understanding this FTC data, the sheer scale of fraud and how it's changing, is just fundamental to building that secure circle.
Absolutely. These things are all connected. Fraud often uses stolen identity information. Certain groups might be targeted more. It's all part of the same security landscape.
Which is why we really want to encourage you, if you found this deep dive helpful, please share it. Talk about it with your friends, your family.
Yeah, awareness is probably our best tool. The more people know what to look out for, the harder it is for these scams to work.
It strengthens everyone's defenses. So please, share this discussion, and make sure you're following the Secure Circle show so you don't miss future deep dives. We cover everything from identity theft and recovery to elder fraud and major cases, all aimed at empowering you.
Staying informed, sharing knowledge. That's how we push back.
Well said. So here's something to think about as we close out. Knowing that fraud cost consumers $12.5 billion last year, and that scammers are getting better. What's one specific thing you learned today from this FTC data that you'll share to help strengthen your Secure Circle? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.